Here he is, introducing the future president of the United States, Mr. Andrew Yang.
Thank you, Los Angeles. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You almost got me to say chant my name. Thank you. How beautiful are you? Los Angeles, look at you. So we've got a lot of local news stations here, Fox, NBC, CNN, and I have to say to the people at home, don't adjust your dials. This is real. This is happening. Yes, only at a Humanity First rally will you see a giant $1,000 bill with my face on it. And math signs and drones. It's like people looking around saying, wow, is this real? But it is real. We're going to make it real together. Am I right, Yang Gang? Now, many of you already know this, but I am not a politician. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a problem solver. I've been trying to go around creating jobs around the country. And I was doing that work in 2016 when Donald Trump became our president. Oh, it's cool. Some of you definitely voted for Donald Trump, and it's cool. Even though I'm in LA, I mean, like, by the numbers, someone here voted for Donald Trump. It's like impossible, you know. Oh, yeah, that's math. That's simple math. Yeah. So when he got elected, I took that as a giant stop sign. I was like, wait, stop the press. The country was so desperate that we elected a narcissist reality TV star as our president. And I said, okay, we have to stop and figure that out. So if you look at the mainstream media, you get a bunch of explanations for why he's our president today. Go ahead, shout out an explanation for why is Donald Trump our president today. Russia, that's one for sure. What else? Yeah, the list goes something like Russia, Facebook, Hillary Clinton, FBI, racism. And there are all of these ideas that are packed into the mainstream media, but they ignore the truth in the numbers. And the numbers paint a very clear picture that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa, all the swing states he needed to win. And now we're going to do the same thing to jobs in retail, call centers, fast food, truck driving, and on through the economy. How many of you have noticed stores closing around where you live here in LA? And why are those stores closing? Amazon, that's right. It's the giant vacuum sucking up $20 billion in commerce every year, and malls and stores could survive that for a little while, but now they're closing. The black hole, the vacuum cleaner, yeah, that's right. And how much did Amazon pay in federal taxes last year? That's right, they paid less in federal taxes than you all did, than each of us individually did. How messed up is that? Very messed up. So then you look at it and you say, okay, how did $1 trillion tech company pay zero in federal taxes? How is that even possible? And you have these accountants high-fiving each other, getting big bonuses. They're going to Jeff Bezos' office and being like, Jeff, we did it. Another year, zero taxes. And Jeff's like, fantastic. Here's a big truck full of money. And they were like, yes. And then they drove home. And then they took like baths in their like vaults of gold coins, like Scrooge McDuck in those cartoons. And I'm going to say it is not their fault. They're doing their jobs. It is their job to minimize their tax burden. But it is our job to make sure they can't pay zero in taxes. Am I right, LA? So Amazon's sucking up this value. They're paying zero in taxes, and we're all left holding the bag. And this is what drove me to run for president. I was looking at these issues saying, wait a minute, it is not immigrants that are causing these problems around the country. Am I right? It is technology. It is the fact that technology is pushing our economy to evolve to a point where now we have drones doing flybys, and there's less and less need for human photographers. So these are the challenges of the 21st century. How many of you all work in technology? At least some of you do. So if you work in technology, you know what I'm talking about. You know that a lot of technology is simplifying things and speeding them up and making it so that people will have less to do later. And that is not a knock on the people who work in technology or had your hands up. You're doing your job, you're making things faster, meaner, leaner, but you know that there are other people on the receiving end of it. I have many friends in technology, and when I talk to them, I say, hey, you guys automating the jobs away? They say, yeah, I am. And then you say, how do you feel about it? And they, just like you, had your hands up, they're like, I don't feel good about it. And then say, would you like to distribute some of that value more quickly and broadly to the American people so that everyone can get along and live a little better? And most of them say, hell yes. Because they're not bad people, they're just doing their jobs. We have to create a path that works for everyone. So I went to Washington, D.C. with this set of problems. I said, look, not immigrants, it's technology. AI is about to hit in a way that's going to disrupt many, many Americans' livelihoods. And what are we going to do about it? And what do you think the folks in Washington, D.C. said to me when I asked them, what are we going to do about it? Yeah, number one, we can't talk about that. Number two, we should study that. Yeah, number three, we should educate and retrain all Americans for the jobs of the future. Yeah, and then I said, oh, I looked at the numbers on your retraining programs. And we're terrible at it. The success rates of government-funded retraining programs are 0 to 15%. And so when I said, guys, we're terrible at it, you know what they said to me to that? They said, well, I guess we'll somehow get better at it then. And then they just went back to their salad. So I was there with them having these conversations, and one of them said this to me, and I'll remember this for the rest of my life. He said, Andrew, you're in the wrong town. No one in Washington, D.C. is going to do anything about these problems because this is not a town of leaders. This is a town of followers. And the only way that we will do anything is if you create a wave in other parts of the country and bring it crashing down on our heads. And that's why I'm here with you tonight, Los Angeles. Will you create that wave with me? I heard what he said, and I said, challenge fucking accepted. Thank you, Los Angeles. Beautiful. Chant my name. So how are we going to get America through this time? I'm sorry for the TV networks. If that was live, I apologize. Like FCC. There's like some traumatized kid in the living room being like, Mom, what does that word mean? And be like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll learn later. So how do we actually evolve to make this economy work for us all? Now, if you know anything about me in this campaign, you know there's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. Am I right? And the first time you heard that, you were like, no way. That is way, way too good to be true. But if you dig into it, this is not a far-out idea. This has been with us since the founding of the country. Thomas Paine was for it. He called it the citizen's dividend. Dr. Martin Luther King was for it. He called it a guaranteed minimum income in 1967. He championed it until he was killed in 1968, the following year. Milton Friedman and 1,000 economists signed a study saying this would be tremendous for America. I don't know if Milton Friedman gets applause from you all, but some people love that guy. Little bit. Some people, like libertarians, are like, yes, Uncle Milton. It passed the U.S. House of Representatives in 1971 under Richard Nixon twice. So it passed the U.S. House of Representatives, came this close to being law. And then 11 years later, one state passed the dividend, where now everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked. And what state is that? And how do they pay for it? And what is the oil of the 21st century? Marijuana. That's right, Los Angeles. It's technology. You got it right. It's marijuana and technology. It's marijuana-based technology. So what they're doing with oil money in Alaska for Alaskans, we can do for everyone in Los Angeles and everyone in the United States with technology money. The money's there. I have done the math. And we have plenty of money to be able to fund a $1,000 dividend for every American adult. In part because what are we going to do with the money when I'm president in 2021 and the dividends start getting out? Where does the money go? I think someone just yelled marijuana. But it goes back into your communities. You're going to spend it on paying your bills, on tutoring for your kids, on car repairs you've been putting off, on the occasional night out. And that money is going to make your community stronger. It's going to make your family stronger. It's going to make your kids healthier. It's going to improve our mental health. It's even going to improve our relationships. We're actually going to get along better when we have $1,000 a month. Am I right, Los Angeles? So this is the Freedom Dividend. It's going to create more than 2 million jobs around the country. And it's something that we can 100% do. There's nothing stopping a majority of citizens of a democracy from voting ourselves a dividend. Nothing at all. All we need to do is wake up our fellow Americans to the power that we possess, and we can make this dividend happen so fast. And it's hysterical watching these other politicians grapple with this, because I have to say, thanks to you all in the Yang Gang, thanks to you all in the Yang Gang, where's my online friend? Yes. Thanks to you all in the Yang Gang, whenever they have rallies around the country and there's a town hall and someone asks them this question, someone's like, hey, there's a guy named Andrew Yang. He wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. What do you think of that plan? And then watching them try and answer that question is freaking hysterical. Because they start like hemming and hawing and looking around and being like, well, you know, blah, 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 like they have this other plans, da, da, da. And none of it makes any sense. Like $1,000 in cash is going to be so much more direct and impactful than anything we can do for our citizens. And as long as enough of us come together to make that case in 2020, we can make this a reality for all Americans in 2021, 2022, and throughout my first and second terms. So that's number one, the Freedom Dividend. The second is we have to get healthcare off the backs of American families and workers. Am I right? Now, I have to say, you all look beautiful and sun-kissed and healthy because we're in Los Angeles. You look like you've spent exactly 0 days with a doctor or in some kind of healthcare situation. But I have to say that healthcare right now is like the worst of all worlds for Americans, where we spend twice as much as other countries to worse results. And when we get sick or injured, we are much more stressed out about navigating our crazy system than we are actually getting well. And that's wrong in the richest, most advanced country in the history of the world. We can change it. We can have Medicare for all, and that's what I'm going to make happen as president. And when people ask, where are you going to get the money? I'm like, are you kidding me? We're spending 18% of GDP. We're plowing so much money into this dysfunctional system. We can get the prices down and the access up as long as we start rationalizing our crazy system. And I have a lot of friends who are doctors. I'm Asian, as you can tell. But they know, too. They're like, yeah, it's true. Like, our system is a bit of a mess. And a lot of them, if you get a couple drinks in them, they're like, yeah, I'm for that, too. And the third thing is we have to, as Leslie was saying, we have to start measuring our economy in ways that matter to us. How many of you all woke up this morning excited about GDP? That guy was. That's funny. You know, how many of you woke up and were like, I'm going to make a big contribution to GDP today. I can feel it. GDP is something we made up almost 100 years ago. And even the inventor, Simon Kuznets, said 3 things. He said, number 1, this is a terrible measurement for national well-being, and we should never use it as that. Number 2, we should include parenthood and motherhood because it's so important. And number 3, we shouldn't include military defense spending because it adds no economic value. So of course we ignored all three of those things, and now we're going to ride GDP off a cliff. And I talk about my own family. My wife is at home with our two young boys right now, one of whom is autistic. How much does her work? Yeah, autism. Yeah, thumbs up. I agree. And how much is her work valued at a GDP every day? How much does a market value her work at? And we all know that's perverse and messed up. We know that the work she's doing is more important and more vital, more challenging to our future than the work of the average corporate attorney or whatever nonsense. And I can say that because I was a corporate attorney for 5 months. And I can tell you that that job can be automated away very, very quickly. So those are the three big moves we need to make. A freedom dividend for all Americans of $1,000 a month. Medicare for all to get the prices way down and the access up. And then move towards measurements that would actually matter to us aside from this GDP thing we made up. So what would matter to us? How about mental health and freedom from substance abuse? How about our own physical health and life expectancy? How about how clean our air and water are? How about our average income and affordability, whether we can afford rent? So believe it or not, we can actually change our economic measurements to these things. And then I'm going to present them to you all at the State of the Union address every year. I'm going to have a PowerPoint deck. I'm going to be the first president to use PowerPoint for my State of the Union address. So this is the American scorecard. This is the human-centered capitalism that Leslie's talking about. PowerPoint. It's a new chant. That's right, America. They're chanting PowerPoint. And you'll actually get something out of the State of the Union that you now find unwatchable. Unlike this bizarre theater performance we're all subject to. And then people are like all standing up and clapping in unison like they're trained SEALs. What the hell is going on? Instead, you'll get something out of it. You'll get real information and then some data on how we're going to improve things. When I talked about health and life expectancy, our life expectancy has declined for the last 3 years, the first time in 100 years. And why has our life expectancy started to decline? It's because 8 Americans are dying of drugs every hour. It's because suicides have overtaken vehicle deaths as the leading cause of death for the first time in American history. And so we're worshiping this GDP number while our people are dying. And it makes no sense. I can't repeat that, but he's right. So if we had the right measurements, we could see how we're doing and we could make it better. And as president, I'm going to say, look, 8 Americans dying of drugs every hour, that's horrifying and unacceptable. And we're going to get it down by 50% in my first term, and here's how we're going to do it. And then I'll report back every year. What do you think? So this is the vision of the economy we have to get behind. We have to stop arguing about socialism, capitalism, this argument from the 20th century. I can guarantee you none of them saw artificial intelligence coming. And I like to quote my friend Eric Weinstein, who said this. He said, "We never knew that capitalism was going to get eaten by its son, technology." Yeah, they're family. It's like capitalism, technology, and then technology's like Oedipus, like freaking killing his dad. So our politicians are literally fighting battles from the past. And some people call me a futurist. I say I'm a presentist. Am I right, Los Angeles? We can make the future the present like that if we come together. So this is the big plan. And I have to say that Donald Trump is our president today in part because he got a lot of the problems correct, where he went around saying, we are suffering. And then what was the Democratic response in 2016? The Democratic response was no, we're not. It was actually things are great. And then, well, and then Donald Trump becomes our president, and we still can't confront the essential problems. I am laser focused on solving the problems that got Donald Trump elected. It is not left. It is not right. It is forward. And while Donald Trump's solutions were garbage and nonsense, it's like build the wall, turn the clock back, bring back the jobs, I'm saying we have to do the exact opposite. We have to move the clock forward. We have to accelerate our economy and society. And I'm the man for the job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. That's right, Los Angeles. I'm going to beat that guy so bad, and I can't wait. So I want your help with me right now to spell out for the rest of the country how we are going to beat Donald Trump in 2020. And it's because this campaign is getting people who voted for Donald Trump. A few of them here are kind of shy, it's cool. This campaign is getting libertarians. This campaign is getting independents. This campaign is getting people who did not give a crap about politics until just now. This campaign is getting Democrats. This campaign is getting hardcore socialists and liberals. Democrats are looking around being like, how are we going to beat Trump? How are we going to beat Trump? How about we roll out the candidate who's getting the people who voted Donald Trump into office in the first place? Am I right, Los Angeles? We are getting people from every part of the ideological spectrum because people are fed up with the same conversations and the same food fights that never lead anywhere. So right now, I mean, you all have caught on. You guys are early Yang Gang adopters, and I love you for it. But people looked at the numbers, they broke it down, and people are asking, how are we going to win? Right now, I am polling at 3% nationwide. And that is before most people have ever heard of me. And a very smart guy named Nate Silver looked at the numbers. He did the math, and he said, wait a minute, Andrew Yang is polling at 3%. He's raised millions of dollars from everyday Americans just like you all. My average donation is only $19, so my fans are even cheaper than Bernie's. This is the cheapest gang to join you've ever seen. If you donate $20, you're an above average member of the Yang Gang. We also, if you leave the gang, we never know, and we just, like it's cool. It's not like a gang where it's like we find you. So this is a gang that's really easy to join. It's one reason we're growing and growing. And Nate Silver looked at the numbers. He said, wait a minute, Andrew Yang's polling at 3%. He's raising millions of dollars in increments of $19, and his name recognition is lower than every other candidate's. And so Nate Silver said, we cannot discount the possibility that as more people find out about Andrew Yang, he just grows and grows and grows and takes out the whole field. That is the story that the numbers say. The numbers say that we are already only one of 6 candidates to qualify for the DNC primary debates in June and July by both polling and donations. And the media is looking around being like, who is this guy? And the American people are like, I know who that guy is, and that's my guy. That's our guy. Am I right, Los Angeles? So the rest of America is going to wake up. It's going to wake up to the fact that, wait a minute, he's talking sense. He's trying to solve the problems. And as people get behind this campaign, we're just going to grow and grow. What Nate Silver said is, no one knows what Andrew Yang's ceiling is. And I say, let's find out, right? Let's find out what our ceiling is. I've met a lot of the other candidates. They're earnest patriots. But I hate to say it, we kind of know what most of their ceiling is. We kind of know. This campaign, no one knows what our ceiling is. And I say, with your help, Los Angeles, we find out by 2020. What do y'all think? We are going to make history together. We are going to shock the world, and we are going to leave a country we are yet proud of for our children. And we can look back and say, we stepped up. That we saw the challenges, but we were not too small for them. We actually grew. We rose to the occasion. That's right, brother. I think what he said was, build the foundation and rise to the occasion. What do we think? That's beautiful. So what we need from you all is we just need you all to initiate a couple of your friends into the Yang Gang. And all we want you to do is just send them your favorite interview, press hit, policy. It could be Joe Rogan. Give a shout out to Joe Rogan. It's true. After I'm in the White House, we're going to do a special Joe Rogan experience from the White House. It's going to be Joe Rogan Experience White House edition with Andrew Yang. And we're going to do it, and Joe's going to look at me and be like, man, I can't believe we actually did it. And then I'm going to say 100%, brother. We totally did that thing. So this is the vision for our economy we have to build. We have to build a trickle-up economy from our people, our families, and our communities up. And that vision is going to take hold here in Los Angeles. It's going to go to Nevada. It's going to go to Iowa. It's going to go to South Carolina. Now, one thing that you may all not know, how many of you knew that California actually moved its primary date up this time? So the Democrats did y'all a favor. The Democrats said, we're tired of the president being decided before California votes. And so they decided to move up to March. You all actually will be able to submit early votes around the same time that Iowa and New Hampshire start voting. How many of you knew that? So for the first time in decades, California is going to help choose the next president of the United States. Are you up for that, Los Angeles? And with your help, we can light the country on fire with the vision of an economy that works for us. We're going to make history together in 2020. Thank you all very much, Los Angeles. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to come say hello.